Hi guys, welcome to another Oakleypaws video. Today I'm going to be showing off my 30 by 30 pixel art maker. What's great about this is it's Bedrock, so all those Bedrock players, all you guys can make this. That being said though, I would not recommend you guys making this. This probably took me at least 15 hours to make. If you are going to make this, I'm going to be showing off 4 pixels at the end and explain how it works, so you can probably just make like a smaller scale, because I wouldn't recommend making a 30 by 30. This all being said though, I hope you guys all had a great Christmas. I'm estimating this, but basically what I think is that the color that takes the longest to load, and I select all colors, should take about 30 seconds. That's redstone wise, it should take 30 seconds, but my Xbox makes it take like 16 minutes. That's why if you're going to make this, I do not recommend making it to the scale I've made it, because if you're doing this on phone at least, your phone isn't going to work. I've seen other Xboxes crash from just trying to load this world. Okay, let's get into me showcasing this now. You can skip ahead to where I show off how it works. And I wasn't joking about my friend's Xbox actually crashing when they tried to load this world. Just look at these beautiful frames. Okay, bear with me and try to ignore the frames. Basically, you see the map I'm holding? That's 30 by 30 is that white boxes, okay? And you could change any one of those little pixels on the map. You could change its color. And I got 15 different colors that you can choose from. Before I get roasted for having so many levers, because it's a redstone build and you don't want to stuff with levers, okay? Each one of those levers is an X value, and then behind me, each one of the levers is a Y value. And in between them is just the colors that you can select. Also, before we get too far into this, this was heavily inspired by Craftymasterman's video. His video was made about a year ago, and each pixel is 8 by 8. This revolutionary design, probably not revolutionary, that I came up with is 4 by 4 blocks for each pixel. But the reason I even made this in the first place is just seeing Craftymasterman's video, so I'll link his video in the description. And I would recommend checking out his video. It's a pretty good video. And also, if you plan Java, you should probably check his video out, because his is for Java, mine's for Bedrock. Now, next to all the colors is just this gold block, and basically what that does is select all the pixels on the entire thing, so you don't have to manually flick all these levers. Okay, for this demonstration, I'm just going to do the light blue and then select all pixels. Now, I'm praying this works because I've only tested orange for all pixels. I haven't actually tested blue yet. Okay, I just flicked the gold lever, which means I have all the pixels selected. Now I flick the blue lever, meaning I want all the pixels to be light blue. Now, since this takes forever, I'm just going to turn this into a time lapse. Okay, so when I tested this before with the orange one, it took about 16, but since blue's a longer color, that took about 21 minutes. Again, this is like 30 times longer because my Xbox can't handle it. Now, after loading this, you'll see how bad my Xbox is. I can flick the lever where it's turned off, but when I try to turn levers back on, it just will not work. Now's a good time to mention that if you enjoy watching my content, could you please consider subscribing to my channel? It shows me that you enjoy my content. For example, for the X value, for just trying to flick lever 15, as you can see, Minecraft won't even render me flicking the lever. So it's just like Minecraft's just doing its own thing. Okay, you guys are probably wondering now, why is his Xbox handling this terrible? Like, is his Xbox suck? Or is this thing huge? We're about to find out. Also, I had to go into one of the backup copies of the world because Minecraft wouldn't load, so I couldn't break the blocks to get out and look at it. Again, here's another example of my beautiful frames when I look up. Alright, here it is. Before you go crazy with these colors, it's because I have the entire thing color-coded. So the green is X. So this entire huge green thing is carrying all 30 X values to their X area. So 1 will be at the farthest to the left, 2, 3, so on. As you can see, it's not too shabby. It's only like 135 by 135 by 80, which makes its area just short of 1.5 million blocks. The one Craftymasterman made a year ago is 4 times bigger than this, and his has the same amount of pixels. So the 30 by 30 pixels I was talking about, that's a total of 900 pixels this entire thing has. And as you can see from the side view, you can see how each pixel can select a color. Oh yeah, one thing I have to mention is that Craftymasterman's, when you select a color, it automatically will do it. But if you select a color for mine that's a lower value, you just have to press the reset button. Which, don't worry, only resets the pixels you have selected. So they'll switch them to white, and they'll switch them to the color that you have selected. As you can see, it's a 15 wide, and then I have another 15 under it for the X values. As you can imagine, I had to copy and paste most of the pixels because I cannot build all that by hand. But this entire thing, where you carry the X values or their selected area, I had to make all that by hand. So this row right here is for X1, X2, X3, X4, X5, and so forth. And then this orange line that I have here is just all the Y values, all 30 of them. And again, I had to make this entire thing for the Ys right here, all by hand. Okay, for the Y values, this far one over here is pixel 30 for the Y, then 29, then 28, 27, and so forth all the way down to here, which is basically Y1s all the way at this end, so Y1, Y2, Y3, and this just goes on so forth to all the way to 30. With that being said, if you selected X1, Y1, this would be the pixel you selected. And here's a brief look on the inside. You can kind of see how compact this thing is. But I'm not going to go too far because I don't want my Xbox to crash. Now what this light blue line is, it's just with that gold block right there, it just runs a redstone line here, which then selects all these pixels and lights them all up. It basically sends a redstone output 1 to 30 on the X values and 1 to 30 in the Y values, which just lights it all up. What this purple line right here is each color has a value from 1 to 15, and it carries that value, that number value, all the way down. It basically uses comparators because redstone can have a value of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to 15, and so I use each one of those numbers as a different color. So pink will have the value of 15, which is the longest to load, and then white has a value of 1, which is the quickest to load. And then the reason that it's actually a triangle is because Craftymasterman, he starts from the corner, as I believe, and so it takes long to get all the way to the opposite side. So I have mine actually start in the center and make its way outward so it's quicker. So for example, orange has a value of 7, white's got 1, light gray 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now someone's probably done this before me, but this is the quickest method I came up with on how to actually carry the number value as quick as possible, but like I looked online, I couldn't find anything else. So that value of 7 is getting carried all the way across this purple line right here, and then runs all the way outward to the left, all the way outward to the right from the center. Basically having the distance that it has to travel, because Craftymasterman started from the left and made its way to the right. I had to take whatever shortcuts here to make it as quick as possible, because on Bedrock, we don't have instant repeaters like they do on Java, so mine gets slowed down a lot to 30 seconds because of that. So for example, Craftymasterman's, he's got instant repeaters, so his longest pixel takes 10 seconds to load, while mine takes about 30 to a minute. That's not counting how bad my Xbox is and how it took about 20 minutes to load that blue one. Okay, so that little black block I had in the corner, that was just the reset button, and that's just this pink line right here. So as I said, higher number values, you can't really go down. So orange has a number value of 7, but if I wanted it to be, I don't know, gray per se, which is a value 2, I just press reset while also having gray selected. And then I have this little comparator thing that loops around so that subtracts from the values. The pink line is pretty simple. It's just a redstone line running to the center so it can make its way outward so it halves the time. So basically, it's just got a ton of observers facing the redstone line to detect the change in the block. And then it carries that signal all the way down so all the observers notice the change in it. Okay, so that's basically just the input system from the main thing. I'm going to explain from 4 pixels in my redstone world because this is way too laggy for me to show off and explain. Before I switch worlds though, I'm just going to take one last look at the size and how huge this thing is. I've covered the white on top just so it looks better and also it reduces lag. Only in the fact that it doesn't have to load in the redstone that's under it, so it lags less, but it's still kind of loading it. The only thing that matters here is each one of these holes here is a different pixel. So this is what adds up to 900 pixels. So there's 900 holes here. So it's kind of tough to see, but when you look right down each one of these holes, it basically has the color that it's displaying. So right now, this one's displaying white. Okay, here's what 4 pixels look like in my redstone testing world. Okay, so I'm going to explain how each pixel works. Okay, these two levers down here are the potential X values, and these two orange levers are the potential Y values for these 4 pixels. Okay, you'll see me flicking this first one right here, that just sends a redstone signal, and that's an X of 1, and it turns the redstone torches on the top up here off, which then make these redstone right at the top off too. Now, if I flick this Y right here, that's a Y2, and you'll notice on this pixel right here, these 2 redstone are off, and they're running into an AND gate, so when they're both off, then that sends a redstone signal on this one little pixel. That redstone torch causes these 2 pistons to extend. The first one being this piston up here, which has the color circuit running into it, which is this magenta. So basically how this magenta works is it takes the number value of each color in from that end, and takes that number value just straight up a line that goes through all the pixels in each X value, and it does that to each, like, 1, it has a line going all the way through it, 2, it has a line going through it. As you'll notice, the only one that has a block there is the one pixel that's selected right now, so that the value can actually run through it that you have selected for the color. So the redstone power runs through that block into that comparator, which then sends a signal to both these redstone, and then that redstone goes into that block that goes out to that comparator, which tries to send it through that block, but there's no block there. So then it continues on the line, going down and sideways at the same time. But as you can see this time on the second pixel, the comparator can actually send the signal through into this little white thing here, which is the memory cell, which stores the value. The value being that color value, where 1 to 15 represents each color. As you can see, it's an infinite loop where they just keep sending that signal in a circle. If you're making this, you're going to want to make sure that you have the one comparator set to subtraction mode, so that when you have that repeater running into it, it will reset it. Now this red wool here is just actually displaying that number value for each color. I snake this number value all the way up here, try not to interlap and stuff. And then as you can see, it sends a signal through that block, which then extends the piston. Then it has 2 redstone here, so it subtracts 1 from the value. So if it was 2, then it'd make that value 1 now, so it'd still display this piston, but not the next one. And then it subtracts 1 again, and just keeps going all the way up. It might be hard to tell, but on the map, those 4 pixels that are white, right in the top right corner that I have, those are these 4 pixels right here. Okay, so now I just selected yellow, and so basically it's only going to change that 1 pixel in the top left, because that's the pixels I have selected with the X and Y. The memory cell stores it, so I can just turn this off now and it'll stay yellow. But now if I switch it to, like, purple per se, it still has that same pixel selected, so it's going to change that value to purple. Also, you may be confused why I'm saying Y2. It's just because this entire thing's rotated on the map, because maps are weird. So basically, this comparator is sending the color purple through this block, which is that number that I was saying. And as you can see, it sends it up and keeps going up and up and up, because purple has a higher value. And as you can see, it doesn't have a strong enough value to make magenta or pink have the value. So when you look straight down it, this one's white, but when you look down the other one, it's purple. And maps use a straight down view, so it'll select this pixel's value as purple, so it'll appear purple on the map. Now if you were to use 0, you could have 16, but not on this design, because I had to subtract 1 here on the value, because I couldn't really get it to go up without doing that. The only way I could think of is by making each pixel 8 by 8, so that you could actually carry the signal up, but then that just ruins the entire point of this entire thing. So as I've said, basically turning this off doesn't change its color, but flicking this pink lever shows the observer an output or change in block basically, so then it sends a signal and it resets the selected pixel, which is resetting it to 0 because there's no current color input into it. And my value for 0 is just white, so that's why it appears white on the map now. So here's where that other piston comes into play. Only the selected one has the piston extended, so that the observer's signal only goes through the block to the dropper, and then the observers go straight up into a redstone torch. That goes a repeater into another redstone torch, into a 2-tick repeater, into that comparator that was on subtract mode. Which sucks because that's already like a huge delay, because I couldn't really come up with a way that wouldn't have a huge delay for the reset. See, the great thing with mine though is Craftymasterman, you could only select 1 pixel at a time. But see, now that I have Y1 and 2 selected right now, it has both these pixels selected, because X1 intersects with both these pixels because it has 2 lines going sideways and 1 going straight up. So as you can see in my little diagram, the red circles are the pixels selected. So as you can see, when I switch it to black, both those pixels are going to be black. And again, since it has a memory cell, after I even stop displaying black into it, it's going to stay that same. And then I can display blue and it'll change to blue. But again, since blue has a higher number value, if I try to switch it back to black, it's not going to switch back. I just have to go to the reset button and just flick that and then it'll change to black. But as you saw when I started the video, I was able to select all pixels because I don't have to select a minimum of 2. See, if I select an X of also 2, now I have all 4 of these pixels selected. So basically, I can make the square or rectangle of all the selected pixels as big as I want it to be. All I have to do is select those X and Y values that I want the rectangle to have. Now you'll see, since I have all pixels selected, when I select blue, it will all change to blue. Again, it might look a little weird on the map. It's because I don't fully understand map mechanics. All I know is that one block in the corner of every 4x4 is the selected color, but then there's other stuff that affects the shade of it. As you see, when I stop the input of blue, it stays blue. But then if I was to change it to like dark blue, it'd change to darker blue. So yeah, that's my pixel art maker I made in Minecraft Bedrock Edition. I kind of hope you guys enjoy this video and it helps if you guys are trying to bake something like this. I hope you guys all have a great New Year's. If you want to see my latest upload, here it is.